Moving to Alice now, where firefighters are battling city officials there over a new contract. Negotiations have been ongoing, but so far no agreement. Our Taylor Alanis is live in Alice tonight to tell us what it could mean for residents there. Taylor?
Yeah, Joe, I did speak with the interim city manager who says they have extended negotiations till September 7th, but he did want to assure the public that there will be firefighters in Alice, that don't worry, they are not going anywhere. Interim city manager Michael Esparza says the city has met with the union 5 times since May trying to negotiate. Esparza says this past Friday, the city wrote up an offer and was told by the union president that there wouldn't be enough votes to pass it. That's when negotiations were extended. What the Alice Professional Firefighters Local 4102 is asking for are increases to base pay, increases to anniversary step-ups, and a couple of other items. Esparza says the city has been negotiating a 3-year contract with a 1-year evergreen, an increase in base wages, and an increase in anniversary pay, but the numbers are still not being agreed upon. Both entities will have a call set up with mediators on Friday. Both say they are working hard to come to an agreement that will benefit both sides of the community. And even though negotiations have been extended, the union is asking people to show their support for their firefighters here at the City Hall meeting at 6:30. For now, live at Alice City Hall, Taylor Alanis, 3 News.
All right, we'll have an update for you tonight at 10 o'clock on that.